Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Today is the 5th of April, the 5th of April. And today's gathering, I'm just going to call this class. I'm tired of jumping around this word. If someone has an issue with me calling it class, so be it. Class is going to be a lot of information, and some of it, some people will agree with and some won't. And that's the beauty of what I was speaking on earlier, which is you do not want to participate in widespread ignorance. Okay. And it has nothing to do with your origin of where you live, how much your parents make, and all that. It's all about what you put inside of your brain and use it objectively. Never be one sided fully, because that's part of ignorance. The inability to share. You start off with the blocks on the floor. If you didn't share your blocks with your siblings, then you're one-sided thought already. A lot of it is rivalry, but still, you should have it in your head that nothing belongs to you except your soul and your opinion. Those are the only two things that belong to you. Everything else is shared by someone else or someone group. More than one will share it with you. So you never really own it. And you can ask your parents right now, are they making a house note? Do they make a car note? And even when you pay the car off and own it, do you still have to buy registration? So you never really own it, right? Ask them, they'll tell you. Some of you already know because you've heard the conversations around the home. So when you keep in mind that you never really own anything, you won't break your back trying to. Okay, because it's difficult to own something that you're not allowed to own. I know that sounds crazy, but if you think about it, you'll see it. So let's start today's class off with the first bonus information, because I have to go here first before I even go into the first one. All right, so let's talk about it. And that is, the question was posed as, when was the parties created? Okay, the parties that in question are the, some say, Democratic and Republic, okay, uh, parties. A lot of people have no idea when they ask that question what the real answer is. Okay, I'm going to give it to you for what is in and around the internet. All right, so before I go there, I want to also remind you, affiliation to anything has pros and cons. Okay. And that goes for friends, friendships, um, different schools, lines of training, ideas, concepts, everything has pros and cons, good and bad. It may be good for you because that's what you're involved in or interested in. It may be bad for you because you're not really interested in it, or you're being forced to do it because of, okay, a idea. Okay. Now, I have to pick apart a few things also so that you can have a better understanding that you are in control of it a little bit, but you still have to follow a line of thought to get to the end of that situation. And I'm talking about school. Okay, you still have to follow what is laid out in order to complete that process. But what I want to share with you today, so that at least you'll have an idea that you do have an option, is that ignorance is the mother of all mess ups. There's another word there, but you'll get that later. But it's true. When you don't have proper understanding or comprehension of a particular topic, what you input is 100% opinion, which it belongs to you. You can give it, but it's an opinion. It has no basis because there's no education. All right. So let's try to get a little education on these words. The parties in particular came around in the late 1700s. Okay. Now, yes, I had to dig this up, so I'm going to read it to you because I didn't have the full understanding or comprehension or the actual dates as to what happened and how people are so ignorant today with this whole process. Now I'm going to read the first line to this. The birth of the potential political parties. Now, that's the first line to our governing system. Potential. Potential. That means they had no idea. It was an idea. Now, here's the true titles. And a lot of people don't know this either, because I asked. I said, what's the two parties? The original two parties. Democratic and Republican. Oh, okay. I was the same one. Democratic or Republican. I would ask that same question to everybody on this class. What is the two parties? Could you tell me the actual real two parties? A lot of you would say the same thing, Democratic and Republican. Would I be correct? Thumbs up if you agree. Even though I only have one picture. You know, I like to see my peoples. So if you thumbed up yes, that there's Democratic and Republic, you would be incorrect. You would be 90, part of that 90% that is ignorant to the facts. And there's a lot that goes into this after I divulge to you what the two parties are. The two parties, Federalist, and listen, Democratic Republic. I'll say that again. Federalist and the Democratic Republic. That's the two original parties. All right. I'm not going to go into all of what's there, but this is the part where the lie began and all of the back and forth came in between the 1700s and let's see, what's the last date? 1854. 1828. Okay, 1828, the Democratic Party split from the double-sided half that was against the Federalists. Not against, but separated from the Federalists. So 1828, Democratic Party. 1854, Republican. So now that you have a little understanding, because I didn't give you a whole lot, because like I said, I don't want to take up the whole call. I dug way deeper, and it is a complete sham. It is a complete lie. It is a diversion. It was used to separate and basically divide a country. Okay? Politicians were chosen by affiliation. I'll say that again. Politicians were chosen, not voted for, chosen by affiliation. And it has been the same ever since. Ever since. To back that up, when did voting start? Let's get the right answer. Hold on. Because I just brought that up. And I want to know. 1788. So that's right in line with a year before the Democratic Party was alive. The only people that voted were those that were wearing the white wigs, and they weren't judges. They weren't kings and queens. They were just what we call elites. People that were allowed, you have to listen to the words, allowed to vote. And they voted by affiliation. So it's like saying when you go to play basketball and you pick a team, the team already comes with their people or their group of individuals to play when everybody was gathered there to play. So the other team came with their team members when they were supposed to pick them. That's affiliation. They were affiliated with that team, was affiliated together before they even came to the court, where you came and you were going to pick from the individuals that were there ready to play. And this is what you have to, comprehend. It has been a game ever since the very beginning. When you look at it, teams were picked by affiliation. Today, this very day, what have we been fighting for, over, and about? The ability to vote. People have been killed. Hundreds of people have been killed in jail to so-called give you the right to vote. But what is that right? And is it actually used? So you have to understand the game before you start really digging into the rules of the game, and which very difficult to get when they don't like you to start with. So, and that has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with privilege. You're going to hear that word a lot. A lot of this information that I have came from ChatGPT, so that you know what I use. I also use Black's Law, which is a book that gives you the real bottom answer to certain things that this country does on a regular. And the people that run it are not the ones you see on TV. That's the other part. They're grandstanders or people that are put in place and told what to do by the true runners, which, you know, you have to be careful what you say on the internet because of potentials, but just know that all of what you see over there in DC is a game. Always has been a game and always will until they get rid of it, which I doubt very seriously they will, because to get rid of it is to get rid of their control. Now, you'll hear me say their or them. That's the elites that don't have on the wigs anymore. But those elites from way back then took control because that's their demeanor. Their mindset is to basically take over, rule places, set up shop. Okay? They call it exploring. But when you kill off people that are already in a place, that's different. All right? All right. Potential good points of Project 2025. Now, again, to get into these things requires you to actually read that that order. Hold on, here we go with this throat again. All right. It really requires you to read the actual bill. And that bill is well over 300 pages. It's like a novel. The original one was 6,000 pages. Then they had to revise it 4 times. Now, the revision of an original bill requires conversations from both sides. The final both sides that claim that they are looking out for us, Democratic and Republican. They both have to read this thing and then go through it as to the pros and cons for them. And what you have to understand is any law that is put together has nothing to do with you. It's how to govern you. So when you hear a law passed or put in on the table for conversation, it is not for your benefit. It has never been for your benefit. It's for theirs. How do they fare out at the end of this bill? So when you look at 2025, it has a lot of controversy because who brought it forth and got it passed, which is the present president. And a lot of people hate this man for no reason. When I ask people the question, why do you hate him so much? They start digging in what they know from what was put on television. Now, TV, the reason why I don't watch it is a device, is a service that was put into act. I don't have the dates. I can get them to control a populace. The radio worked okay because that's what started it out, the radio. There was no TV. But if a family did not have the radio, then nothing was heard anyway. So a lot of people were away from the programming. Why do you think it's called programming? Look on any um, television menu, it's going to have the word programming. Your scheduled programming was interrupted because your scheduled programming is because there are tactics inside of that process. Okay, there's certain wavelengths that they will play that you cannot hear openly, but your ears can still hear it. Your face, your eyes, the visuals that they put, they can embed things behind it. As long as you're looking in the direction of that television, you will receive it. And television is an abbreviation for tell a lie in vision. But you never get the answers because of political parties keeping control. So 2025, first point, smaller government. Now, if you notice, President Trump is following this to the letter. To the letter. And again, with any new change, there has to be good and bad things happen. There's always an effect and a result, a cause and an effect. Smaller government means there's too many people over there that have no idea what they are doing, literally. Literally. No idea. There is no application to be a political party holder, and I'm saying it for both sides. No application. There is really no person that will hire or fire you. You have to go back to what I said at the very beginning. 90%, I will say it's just that high. 90% of the people over there are in these positions by affiliation. They knew somebody of somebody knew somebody and said, "You're a good. Let's put you in this spot. We're gonna appoint you as this person or that person, and you keep the job for the rest of your life with everything attached, salary, insurance, all of it, everything." A lot of these people over there have no reason to even come to work. They still get paid. They vote in a direction of one person or the party. They don't even look at the actual bill. They don't participate. They're just there, holding a position. Strong executive power, which he is showing you right now. And a lot of people are afraid of that because they've never really had it. That's why there's so much talk about what is he doing. Okay? He's standing up. So before you hate a person, find out what they're doing for you. Next one, regulatory rollback. A lot of the garbage laws and rules and stuff that are passed in these closed door meetings, just like I said at your town hall meeting, things that are happening to you in your town or city happen because of deals and laws that are put on the table, but no one's there to vote on them. Well, our executive over there did that for years. One individual did it for 8 years consecutive. Just making up stuff, doing things, signing laws and bills. No one fought it. Now look at the mess that we are in. So regulatory rollback means you have to go back as far as you can and chop off stuff that was put in for the benefit of them, not for you. These laws have never been passed for your benefit. So get that out of your head. These laws and things that you see passed are for the parties. Why do you think there's a Democrat and a Republican and there's a fight on TV every day? On the internet. Everywhere you go, you hear, oh, the leftists and the rightists and the thises and theses and thoses. Why? Because there has to be a separation. All right, regulatory rollback means go back and get rid of all the stupid laws, or as many as you can, because they are all set up for the executive rulers, not you. Value-based governance. Now that goes a chop down from them to your mayors, the governors of a state, the mayor of the city. You know, these guys have to have values based on what is good for us and stop it being a money grab. Okay? Everything has been based off of a monetary value. The more of it you have, the more power you have. The more of it you have, the more things you can do illegally and just get a, don't do that. Don't let them see you do that. You try it. See what happens. Focus on national sovereignty. Now, national sovereignty. What does that really mean? Right now, 94% of the citizens of this country have no idea what sovereignty means, much less act in it. National sovereignty means everybody is sovereign. Okay? You're no longer a citizen, because a citizen is controlled under laws and rules. Slave. Okay? You are doing the bidding of the rulers. A sovereign is equal to the rulers. And what you do is in accordance of good for everybody. But when you're not a sovereign, then these British laws and rules stand forth. Police department. It's not even real. The only law that is real is the sheriff's department. They were established way back when, the land of the law of the land, which was on the, I guess you could call it, see, I'm getting in too deep. I'm trying to pick the right word. Give me a minute. More along the lines of common law. And common law was here first. British law came later. Okay, common law is do no man harm, There's, basically, if you break it, you fix it type thing. There was no lawsuits involved. It was if you broke that wagon, then you had to get some wood and whatever and make a new wheel, whatever. Whatever happened, you just had to fix that. There was no, oh, I have pain and suffering and I need $500,000 for that, and the car has to be replaced. I need a Bentley now because I had a Cadillac. That's the foolishness of British law. Potential bad points, authoritarian tendencies. That's the first thing they grab when, when this is discussed, especially with the present president. They want to call him certain things. There's key words that are put out that make people think a certain way. Me personally, get the job done. Try not to hurt anybody and never let what we've gone through happen again. I don't care what color your hair is. I don't care what size your hands are. These are things that are put out. I've seen them. All the lies that they have put out to make you hate this individual, anything and everything. So authoritarian tendencies is what he's doing now. He got Doge finding all of the lies and theft, and I'm really interested to hear about what these individuals, now that they've been exposed, what is their excuse for all the theft? So what part of political is that you steal money from the people? Okay, these are the truths that are being exposed and put out there. But we have a mindset because of programming to think a certain way about a person. Look at the work first, then make a judgment. Elimination of key protections. Now, I just talked about a little bit. Seeks to dismantle protection related to civil rights. Now, does anybody know your civil rights? You have to look them up. But what is put in here, and the reason this statement was put, is for LGBTQ plus rights. Said nothing about you, nothing about regular Americans, what your rights are, but they put that in there specifically. Why? Goes way deep on this one, way deep. That's the only rights that were put in there. Why? Programming. Environmental regulations. So environmental regulations, the very things that they have stomped on ever since you can remember. And again, that would go into a whole lot of conversation about, the stuff you see in the sky, the stuff that's in the water, what's being put on television, what's being put in the schools, what you are and aren't allowed to learn, just like this class that you're on right now, is not taught in school. Why? They don't want you to know about money and how to use it. They want to control it for you. It's called a deposit. Undermine democracy and rule of law. Something they have been doing ever since. So they put it as a con in here to make it seem bad, but this has actually been happening to us ever since George Washington. Rule of law. Remember, these guys were given these positions by affiliation. Oh, Jack, you're going to do what I tell you to do? If I say to do it, would you do it? Yeah. Okay, you're a Republican. Okay, Sally, if I come up with a law and a rule, would you do it? Yes. Yes, ma'am, you are now this. As long as they agree with the individual in place, they were allowed to hold a position to then govern further down. That's rule of law. It was violated from the very beginning. So how does it actually work for those who are under that authority? Climate change detail. Now, again, if this bill is going to cause that, why have we been looking in the sky with strips? Why have the waters that we drink have things in them it shouldn't be? Was it before or after this bill? It was damn before, a very long time before. You see how they put certain things in the negative side of it to make sure that you don't like it. This was already in act. Climate change. Okay. All the stuff that has been happening to us using practice or experimental drugs and put them in your arm because of something they came up with. Was that Project 2025? No, absolutely not. Okay, so again, you have to be aware, and this is one of the biggest things I could emphasize on you, is to be present, not only because you're asked to be there, but be there in present of self. Evaluate everything, take in all the information, and you make your own decision. Okay, that's what a sovereign does. A citizen is told what to do and they do it without question. Or they feel a certain way about a person because they're told to do so. They call them a racist. Can you prove that fact? Everything that you use to describe a person, you should have irrefutable proof before you make a statement. Because if you don't, you are part of that 94% ignorant, because you don't have all the facts, but you follow an idea that is non-sovereign, that's a citizen. You're controlled by information. Break that policy. All right. The fifth one, culture, war, escalation. Culture, war, escalation. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, button heads. That's what this bill does. Really? Kind of think, I've seen that all my life. Long before this bill, you had black, you had white, you had segregation. That is cultural war. Off top. You had black power, you had this, you had white supremacists, you have the Ku Klux Klan, you have all these other individual entities that fight each other. I think that was happening long before this bill. So you see how if you really look at the information inside of something, you get a better understanding or comprehension of it. And you see how they try to use something to direct your thought and how you feel about it. Get all the facts first. So some of the stuff that was used in here to describe it has already been long happening before this bill. All right, in summary. Supporters see Project 2025 as a bold, conservative revival of American institutions and values. Critics view it as a dangerous power grab that could destabilize democracy and roll back decades of social progress. That is that almost upsets me. Because if you listen to that sentence, Dangerous power grab. Let's break it down. A dangerous power grab has been happening long before 2025. As a matter of fact, it started when the lie of the first person to come here and find this country. I don't even use his name because it's a complete lie. That lie has been put in everybody's head since you were able to read. But the truth is different. The power grab was the day that they put that information that that man discovered a new country when people were already here. How do you discover something when people are already there? Stop it. Second thing, there was a power grab right then. That could destabilize democracy. Now, let's look at the word democracy and really understand what that is, because it's the first word reversed. Democracy, in its rule of law, states that you have to do what the United States says you're supposed to do. So they establish a living understanding and circle of power by calling it democracy. Now, when you are a country and you say, oh, we have democracy, which we never had, let's run off to another country and tell them this is what you should do. That's authoritarian. Once that country says, well, what's democracy? Well, you're supposed to make sure that your people work and they pay taxes and take care of you, when it's the opposite way. A lot of people don't understand that part. You don't work for the government, it works for you in all its holdings. The House, representatives, and all that. Their actual job is to work for you when they have it turned around. That's their democracy. So now you, as a country, go to another country and another country and another country and tell them this is how you're supposed to live. You make those people go to work and they give you the money and tax, and you control them. That's democracy. So when you have an idea and you go push it on someone else, that's a power grab. When you tell them, I'm going to come in and get your stuff, diamonds, what they did to Africa and all these other countries, and all this, go places and take. I participated in 2 wars that did that exact same thing and called it democracy. Desert Storm was a power grab. And when they didn't say yes, we went over there and blew them up. That's democracy. Okay, last one on this, social progress. What social progress have you seen over the past 100 years, 70 years, 50 years, 30? What social progress have we made? We are still talking about black and white, the original. We're still stuck on white supremacy. You have countries that despise brown people just because and don't even know why. I've been around the world twice, and trust me, there are certain places that brown people are hated. Asia is one of them. hate you. Don't even know why. Programming. All right, so that's enough on that. Sorority. Now, I do have a couple on here that I'm going to step aside. I believe they're on. Let me make sure I'm on the wrong screen here. My sorority affiliates, or those who have joined them, are you on the call? As soon as I can get back to the screen. Would you unmute, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. There's two. I think there was three, or is it just two? If you joined a sorority, that would be you. So you can unmute if you have after going to college or during college. All right, we'll keep it quick.
This is Carolyn. I'm a Zeta.
Okay. All right, so we have three. We'll do the three. So I'm just going to ask a question. We're going to start with you, Jillian. Please explain to our young people here what and how things went when you did it.
Okay, so there are different kinds of sororities, and the one that I'm a part of is a professional nursing organization. It's called Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated. It's for both males and female, but back in 1932 when it was started, it was because nurses back then were not allowed to work or were not given the opportunity to work in the other hospitals. And they had organizations and they had no opportunity for growth. They had no mentoring. They had nothing. We weren't allowed to join the ANA, American Nurses Association. So Chi Eta Phi, 13 women got together and formed Chi Eta Phi, which is a nursing sorority, for the opportunity for Black nurses to work together, to mentor, to get leadership, and to help grow. So people have a lot of negatives about sororities and fraternities. And I always say it's personal responsibility, do your due diligence, do what's right for you, what's best for you. But I joined Chi Eta Phi not too long ago because of the fact that our mission is to bring support for the community. We teach Blacks, brown people about blood pressure, cholesterol, Alzheimer's. We're affiliated with the Lupus Foundation. We're affiliated with several foundations that are working towards helping our community with their health. There are other sororities that do other things, but again, I joined Chi Eta Phi because of the mission and the vision, which is to educate our community. I'm really health conscious. I am a nurse, been a nurse for over 30 plus years. I can't say how long. It's been a long time. But that's what Chi Eta Phi sorority is. People think the word sorority has a negative connotation, but again, do your own due diligence, do what's right for you. And I'll let the others speak on their organizations.
Thank you, Jillian. Appreciate you. And congratulations, by the way. Sonia?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Well, good morning. I am part of the Order of Eastern Star. Not a sorority, but we're affiliated by Dr.
Bad
Robert
connection.
Morris. Actually, over 1 million members. Oh,
Bad connection. Can we move to?
all right. Sure. Let me go.
Yeah, because I definitely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'll start over. I'm part of the Order of Eastern Star. It is the largest fraternal organization where men and women can join. It was founded in 1850 by Dr. Robert Morris. And the Order of Eastern Star is based on biblical women of the Bible. And we have certain principles that we go by. While it is secret, there are some things that we cannot disclose, just as a sorority. We are a charitable organization, and we participate in many different functions throughout the year. I am proud to be a member since 2008.
All right. All right. Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate you. Was
You're
that
welcome.
Carolyn? Or Camilla? Who was that?
Yes, this is Carolyn. I joined my sorority while I was in college. I was really looking for, I guess, a network of people, like-minded people that I could affiliate with. And when I was looking at sorority when I was in college, and I went to like the intro to basically all the female ones, and what I observed on campus, just, I probably took about a month of observing each. And I went with Zeta because there was a community of people that will more like charitable contribution. They went to nurses' home. They went to, even we had our part of our initiation was to go to the elders Zeta houses, clean houses, whatever they needed. Go take them to the store. It was more like what I was looking for, not so much partied and, all this other craziness. I wasn't looking for that. So I found a organization, sisterhood, you know, they have over, I want to say, about 200,000 people. It was mostly educated, dynamic organization, professional women's. And the benefit of the membership, include opportunity for professional development, personal development, and of course, sisterhood, what I was looking for. And that's the reason, but like everybody said, do your own research, take the time and look and observe. If that's something you're looking for, if that's something you want to be affiliated with, that's, and you don't have to join while you're in college. They also have graduate organization too that you can join later in life if that's what you want to do also. Thanks for letting me share.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Montavo, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
ma'am.
I forgot about the National Council for Negro Women. I'm part of as well. They'll kill me if they see this. I'm also part of the National Council of Negro Women of the Brooklyn, Midwood, and Vicinity chapter. This was founded by Mary McLeod Bethune. And basically, this is another sisterhood, educated Black women coming together. Reverend Shireen Bradley is now our president. And it was just a pleasure to be around sisterhood, professionalism, and learning more about Black civil rights. Basically, we just marched on the Capitol the other day. So actually, they're very into politics and making changes for Black women and men throughout the country.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I want to do a second take. I am also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Although Chi Eta Phi, I joined as a graduate, you can join as an undergraduate. We call you a beta, and we encourage you to continue in the graduate chapter once you get your nurse's license, if you pass the boards. I did Alpha Kappa Alpha as an undergraduate at Westchester University in Pennsylvania, which is a predominantly white school. So when I was there years ago, I joined the sorority because I wanted to be a part of something Black. I went to all white high school. I knew all the Blacks in my high school. We all lived together. We all knew each other. So I wanted to be, get involved with something more cultural. So I did join AKA. And the benefit of joining a sorority, I want to say, like she said, you could do graduate or undergraduate. Undergraduate, you may want to do it because you want to feel, get more culture and do more things. You don't have to party. I was never a partier, a drinker, still am not. but I like the camaraderie. I like the sisterhood. I like being a part of something. As a graduate in AKA, we do a lot of things. You have the cotillion every year that teach young women, proper etiquette, because that's not taught anywhere anymore. So we have the cotillion, the balls, we have things like that. We do things for the community. And I think that one of the biggest things is connections. I was telling my daughter, who's getting ready to go to college, she selected a college that's not a HBCU, and I'm encouraging HBCU. And the reason I am is because you go to college for a degree, and when you graduate, no one really cares where your degree came from, so to speak. You have your degree. But while you're in college, that's where you make the most connections. You make your connections for the rest of your life. If you go to a predominantly white college, connections are being made, but may not be made for you. If you go to a HBCU, connections are being made, and you can make connections because those professors are practicing and they can help you in the future. You're making lifelong relationships. So that's the same with the sorority. We know some prominent people who are AKAs. Last person that ran for president, she was an AKA. So again, whatever you're looking for, do what's best for you. Don't allow someone to tell you that this sorority is better than the other. Do your own due diligence. Find out what you want. Find out what that sorority is about, what they do, where they began, where they started, what's their foundation, because you may not resonate with that foundation. So you find out what's good for you, and I would say look out for yourself. And I encourage joining, but join a sorority that's right for you. There's many out there. There's Alpha Kappa Alpha. There's Delta Sigma Theta. There's Zeta Phi Beta. There's a whole lot out there. Just find the right one for you.
All right. Thank you again. Now this question was put forth in good faith, and then I want to also go back to 2025. One of the aspects was to get rid of education. But you have to understand what type of education is actually in target. And my opinion and what they project is that the schooling or the education that you are currently receiving or is currently being made available is outdated. Number one, it covers things that are lies, like the original person that said he found this place. It is well undersuited for you to survive. The education process is basically mimicking you going to work, not to educate you. Yeah, they put the little stuff in there and you have to study and you're doing your work and you get a report card to say that you're following the rules. But what are you learning? Okay. Project 2025 says, let's teach them what they need to know in the future. Like this class, are you learning anything like this in school? Hell no. Cotillion, I used to participate in cotillions. That's why I have certain mannerisms. My parents or my mom made sure I took the course of cotillion. How are you supposed to act as a young man? How do you treat? I went through those courses. Do they teach you that? You ever even heard of the word cotillion? See what I'm talking about? So the education is going to be turned into what you need along with all the other things, math and all the other stuff. Not so much the social, that garbage that means you no good. Okay, but more along the lines of where are we going? Digital. Are they teaching cryptocurrency? Are they teaching digital responsibility? No, but they will be. And that's what Project is looking to do. Change the old education that is worthless into something that's viable and set up for you to succeed in the future on all aspects, not as a robot or a citizen. You don't want to be a citizen. You want to be a sovereign, someone who's in control of their life, not a citizen, which is you work at this place, you have to be here at 7 o'clock, you're off at 3, the same thing at school, right? You have to be there at 7, you get a lunch, and you know, they're setting your mind to work. You have this certain job, you're gonna be there, do this, do that, right? Your homework is to go to bed so you could be there early tomorrow. No partying, no nothing. Well, typically. But the point that I'm getting at is look at all the aspects before you make a decision and look at anything, including sororities. Now, you just heard from 3 women that participate in multiples things that are good for the community. But if you don't check it out, you could wind up in something that's going to have you all messed up later on. Let's look at the good points. Lifelong friendships and sisterhood. You heard them, all 3 of them say that. Sisterhood. You are connected to a network of people who participate in that same sorority. Now, there's other things, there's subcategories in this, but I'm just hitting the top ones because it's already 12 o'clock. I'm still talking. Networking opportunities, same thing. Leadership development, if you are really interested in that sorority, along with your work of becoming a young woman. Okay, because this is another avenue that requires your input. Now, you're already in college, or, you know, per se, you can wait till after. But if you decide to choose this during college, this is another part that you have to put into. You have to put in to receive out. You're putting in at school already, and you're receiving out. Now you'd be doing 2. Make sure you're capable and ready for that dual responsibility. But there are good things to them. Academic support, so they may help you in your schooling of graduates and what have you, in certain meetings, and you bring up a question. This is why I ask you guys every week, please, if you don't do anything else for the rest of your life, ask questions. That's your mind expanding over top of a topic. Don't just be okay, yes, no. Be, well, what if I did this in that situation? Or how can I use this? Ask questions. Okay, because if you're at one of these meetings or sorority gatherings, academic support, and you say, well, I'm really having a problem with such and such. One of those sisters will say, well, hey, I did really well in that. What's going on? Now you have a communication. Now you have assistance. You have support. Now you're going to do well in that portion of your academics. So those are the good points. Community service, and philanthropy, which I fall in the second category because I like to see people have money. And I would put up money to make sure somebody has it. So, you know, I didn't join anything, but these certain words are aspects and qualities of people that are in certain things. Last one, good point, social life and events. Again, they party. There's no question that they don't. But they don't, it's not all about party. Okay. Social life events. You may go to a march. You may be part of a understanding of a certain rule or law that's happening to a city. And if there's enough of you in that city, you guys could get together and have a discussion and see what can be said at the next meeting. That's why I said town hall meetings is your practice to get started, to get used to going to events and speaking. The whole idea to be there is to say something if needed. But if you don't say anything, don't expect them to do things that would benefit you if you didn't say something when you had the opportunity. That's why I ask you on this call. This is where it starts. This is where your practice is. Ask questions. It's almost mandatory, but I don't do mandatory. Try not to. All right, bad points. Okay. Like I said, anything and everything you do is going to have a good and bad, depending on your understanding. Cost. There is a monetary situation or process in anything you do, really. So cost is not a bad thing. It's just one of those things. Okay, I don't care what you do, there's going to be a cost to it. Even if you don't do a sorority, at the end of school, you're still paying for certain things. Being in a sorority may stave off some of those things, may get help to pay off certain things, but there is a cost, okay? Time commitment, I was just talking about that. Are you ready to give dual? You have to be ready to do that because they're going to need time from you to participate in certain things, studies and this or whatever else that sorority is doing. All right. Exclusivity and cliques. Okay. That's one of their biggest drawbacks to me. Now, this is my opinion because of the simple fact that you are in a sorority. Don't talk to me. You're beneath me, because some of them promote that type of ideology that you are above anybody else because you're part of our thing. And those are called cliques. Okay? Don't become a cliquette. Reputation and strategies. The reputation is part of the exclusivities, the cliques, and all that. Those two things are pretty much the same. Drama or pressure. You will be pressured depending on what it is or how it is. You may not go along with certain aspects, but when you join and you are part of that system, that's where the control comes in. You don't have a choice. You really don't. Once you say yes, and they say, yes, we like you and take you in, then you are committed to all the things that they do. And some of that might not be, down your alley, but you still have to participate. You may not have to participate fully, but then you're looked down on because you're not fully giving your commitment to that sorority. Not always inclusive. Okay, so again, you have to check out what you're joining, even when you go to the military. I don't care what you get into, check it out first before you commit. And that's including a relationship and a marriage. Yeah, I did it. Check them out first. Find out things, ask questions. I don't care what it is. If you don't participate in a mindset of I need to make sure I'm safe in this commitment, then you are doing yourself a disservice. Always check it. Okay, check out the person, make sure they're good. And they're actually doing something that's, worthwhile. All right, enough on that. Last one. Good grief, it's already 12 and you guys haven't even done yours. Let me just say this. I'm already taking up a whole hour. I'll say the origin of Freemason and the other two that I didn't touch on for next week. This is too long. All right, let me get back to here, and I'm going to go back to my page. All right, so now we are on you guys. So you had 4 things, kind of statement-y like kind of questions. for your homework. Thank you, everyone who did open up and talk about your sororities. I appreciate you. And congratulations.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes, ma'am.
apologies for the feedback. Can I make a suggestion that we kind of push the homework to next Saturday, because I do kind of want to talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That specifically the sororities.
Hmm.
Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Well, for starters, how do I put this? Well, for starters, I personally feel, and it's no disrespect to you or the ladies who shared their experience about being in sororities, but I personally wanted to hear your voice on the matter. It
Mhm.
seems like the ladies speaking about their personal experiences in the sororities was like a way to kind of push it on to young people. And I've already given my stance on how I feel about them personally. Is the charities and the sisterhood and all of this, I personally feel as though those are just smoke screens. And I believe that it is pledging to a deity. That's what I believe personally. And I kind of wanted to hear your voice on the matter rather than their experience.
Okay. Well, I'll be more than happy to give it. And again, I'm giving it out of my own opinion because I didn't join. The only thing that I joined out of personal experience is the military, and that's the biggest sorority there is. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. All of the aspects of it are along the same lines of what they just spoke on. Not all sororities are set up for you. Again, you have to look at what is the direction, and this is kind of what I got in high school. What is the direction you're going? What are you doing? Okay, and that's how you really decide whether or not you are affiliated with any of them. And I know a bunch of people that didn't do any, including the military, and they are very well set people because they follow their intuition, they follow their stream of thought. Now they lack a few things, self-development, because they didn't have anybody to talk to other than, the people that they hired and fired or where they worked at and got some experience on other stuff. Because anytime you go to work somewhere, you are following that person's decision and you have to conform to their idea of thinking until you can raise enough money to open your own business, and then you're in your own direction. But again, my idea or my input on this is self-development, which I'm trying to impose on this class, is to make sure that you develop yourself. And I'm proud of you for stating that fact. But again, it's all in what is here for you. No sorority, no decision of other people can influence that more than you. So whatever is in your heart, follow it. Make a commitment to that because that's when you will benefit the most. Now, again, my input on the sorority that I chose is the military. And what the military taught me was self-development, understanding people, following a rule, because you still have to follow a rule. Even if you go self, you have to set up a set of laws and rules, how you go forward and how people participate with you. So you learn that. You learn, I chose the Navy on purpose so I could see other places and other people, cultures, directions, understanding, comprehension. I was so glad I chose the Navy because I got to go around this world twice. Most people have only gone to destinations in this world. I've been around this thing twice. So the ones I didn't get to see the first time around, the second time around, I got to see them. So I've seen things because of this affiliation. I've learned things because of the affiliation. I've done things not so great. I'm not proud of, like I said, the commitment means you have to commit to what they do. And people had to die behind my hand. So, I'm not proud of it, but it's part of that commitment. And that's part of life, really. Anything you do, I see you, Jillian. Anything you do, there's a form of commitment, there's a form of understanding, comprehension, and there's a form of commitment to it. Now, you, Miss Jaden, I feel you. I understand that you are independent. I already gathered that. You're going to make decisions in the next year that will influence people 10 years from now because of the direction you're getting ready to go. So always remember, even if you don't decide to go with a sorority, or if you do, this goes both ways. Because like I said, I am a participant of a different type of sorority. There is a commitment to it, even if it's self. Even if it's self, you have to commit to you to follow what you put down. So you can't break the stuff that you put down later, because then you would be breaking your own. So I commend you 100%. I also want to make sure that anything that we discuss here is for ideal benefit, networking, understanding, receiving from others. That's what you do with me on this call every Saturday, or I hope anyway. You receive an understanding or a comprehension of a topic or topics, and they will change as we, get to the part where we really are now. As you can see by the questions of you to me, these directions are taking this class in different directions, but it's still always going to come back to finance. Always. Okay? Because being in a sorority could also affect your finance. Not being in one could also affect it because you're not spending that extra money there that is required. Let's keep it clean. You're going to have to spend when you're in a sorority. If you're not in a sorority, then you would not have that expense. Let's just be real on that. Go ahead, Jillian.
A couple of things. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Yes, sororities are expensive. Registrations and events and donations, and you're constantly fundraising to support one thing or the other. But I want to speak to the young lady that posed the question. That is why I said it's a personal decision. I know what you're talking about as far as the deity factor, and I have heard that, and I have seen that, and I've done my research on that, and that's why I chose the way I chose. So it is a personal decision. A lot of things, I was in the military 20 years. I did 20 years active duty in the Air Force. I chose the Air Force for the wrong reason. I joined it so I could run track. The recruiter said I could still run. For the first 10 years, I competed for the Air Force team. I loved every minute of it. Then the other 10 years, I flew around the world as a flight nurse. But there's things that in each organization that is secretive. That's how organizations are. Unless you're a part of it, you won't know all the details of it. So again, I hear how strong you are about the deity thing. I know you're a religious person, you're a Christian. And so therefore, if that bothers you that much, then that's the Holy Spirit telling you probably shouldn't go that way.
Right.
Do what's good for you. Other people do it. Don't let anyone pressure you to do something or try and talk you into it. We're not trying to talk you into anything. We're just sharing what we did and why we did what we did and the benefits and the problems we've had being a part of it. Yes, it's very expensive. I just spent $700 to register for a conference, and I hadn't paid for the hotel yet, or transportation, or all the clothes that I have to wear to be in the same colors. But the military, I had to have my belt on with my gig line appropriate. I had to have my medals half an inch above my core belt. I mean, that's part of being in an organization. There are rules, there are rituals, and it's all in everything that you do.
Yeah.
Personal responsibility, your own choice. Do what's best for you, no matter
Lead.
what anyone else says, because you have to live with that in your heart. You have to live with that. If you're concerned about the deity aspect, I would say walk away. Don't do it, because that is, you've said it 3 times. I've been on several calls and you've mentioned that. That weighs heavy on you. So I would think that don't do it, because that is, in some organizations, that is part of theirs. Not in
Mhm.
all. Do your research again and make the best choice for yourself. That's it. Thanks.
All right.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I think that I think you guys are under the wrong impression. I was never stressed about I was never stressed about joining a sorority. It never has been or will be on my heart. That's not the purpose of why I was asking the questions that I have been. I've been asking these questions because I wanted Mr. Lewis's opinion on how Greek culture has affected a lot of the minds of young people, especially my people, young Black women and men. I wanted his opinion on that. It wasn't based on me thinking about whether or not I should join it. I wanted to know what he thinks about the Divine Nine and Freemasonry. I wanted to know if he knows how they all tie together.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to also state the fact that a lot of these organizations, their secretive ways are secretive for a reason, because of all of the positive attributes that you were mentioning, such as, like I said earlier, the charities, education for young Black men and women. That's attraction. That's all it is, in my personal opinion, of course. But there's a lot of people on the internet, on social media, who are publicly denouncing these sororities and fraternities, and that is for a reason, because they don't like to talk about how all of these organizations have ritualistic tendencies, very heavy ritualistic tendencies. A personal friend of mine just denounced his fraternity because it is in conflict with his belief in Christ and how the fraternity operates. So overall, my point is, this was never about me struggling. This was never about a personal conflict joining a sorority. I simply wanted to hear Mr. Lewis's opinion, and I wanted him to do his research on it, and we have a personal conversation about the Divine Nine and Greek culture as a whole.
Right. So that's awesome.
That's a different question too. The way the question was posed, that's a different question.
It wasn't a question.
No, I'm just saying the aspect that you're asking about to how the Divine Nine and all that, what you just stated, was not what we got from original asking about the sororities. The original statement was not what you just said. What you just said is totally different from what we're presenting today. You're asking a whole lot different information, and that's not what was presented today. So apologies for not answering your question, because that was not what was the original ask. What you're asking today is totally different, and that is a whole nother conversation.
It's deep.
That's deeper than what we were talking about today.
I'm not asking anything though. Mr. Lewis specifically said, give me homework. And I gave him the opportunity to do the research on Greek culture. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Let me just say this. The Freemasonry is probably, it's 4 pages on what I gathered. And this call, it's only an hour. But again, to answer a question, or even, just to relate on my homework, 2025 was so deep, that took almost an hour. But I only touched on sorority a little bit. But again, to your understanding, any sorority, and like I said, the only one I can speak on is United States Navy, U.S. Army, U.S. Marines, because those are the ones that I joined. Then I went back to the Navy. So I've been in the military since just after high school, all the way up until 96. Okay. I don't care what sorority you get into. They're all built the same. You have to commit to it in one way or another. And some are higher and some are lower. The commitment that I'm talking about is high in the military because you commit with your life. And you can't commit any further than that. You can't get any deeper into a idea. It's still an idea. Okay, you're following the rules of an idea of a group or groups with an S. And those group or groups have commitment issues like monetary, like committing with a pledge higher than anything on this land, which is your life. And now I'm speaking on my own. So you get an understanding of some sororities. I committed with my life to protect all of you. That's the philanthropy part. I want to do my absolute best to make sure everybody else is good. To the commitment point of my life, I was willing to give that to make sure everybody else is safe. As far as the deity part, which is on your soul commitment, is in the masonry part that I haven't given yet because it's so long. A lot of what you're looking for is going to be in that assignment, which I will do next week because we're late. But even still, it's too late in the day for me to start that. I have 4 pages of information myself. Now, this goes a lot deeper into not only what you think Masonry is about, Freemasonry, but it also goes into the aspect of some of the people over here in DC. It goes that far. Okay? And actually before them, it's an idea, it's a sorority of commitment, and they're close to the military because they request a life commitment. Life. You can't commit any higher than that. Okay? And when you have the ability to participate, you are going to learn certain things about yourself. You are going to learn certain aspects on your commitment to a specific thing. And this goes far beyond any sorority. Just like I was saying, for you, you're an individual that's going to do great things. I already see it. And having the knowledge of what happens to an individual that does commit to a sorority or whatever helps you in your direction. Now, again, I can only talk about the military. I can only talk about my self-commitments to my own sorority. I have one. That's called Love Everybody Until I Can't. I follow the same sorority that I'm pretty sure that you are looking at. The Creator. That's a sorority, believe it or not, because not everybody believes it. Not everybody follows it. Not everybody's committed to it. Okay, so having an understanding of what is actually done in these things, I hope, well, my intent was to give you more information that I personally didn't have, because I didn't do college, which I should have. I didn't do a sorority, so I can't really talk on them. The only one I can speak on is the military and my own. Like I said, I do have a sorority. It's in that book. He's in that book. They're in that book. Okay. But you still, even in that book, you have to look past it. Because everybody is created equally. So your commitment to your journey depends on how much you know about commitment and what it takes to put into something. Just like a promise delivered. I'm committed to it till the end. I started to quit several times, but that would be going against my personal commitment to the Creator and the direction that I've been sent in. Sometimes your commitment and your sorority is chosen for you. I could easily just say, I don't want to do it no more, and walk away. But what would I be showing the world? What would I be showing myself? And my self-commitment to making sure I'm doing the right thing, or following a path that was given to me that I didn't even know existed. I didn't learn about it until after the military. But I had to get some guidance. I had to get some foundation. I had to stop doing the things that I was doing, because we all self-direct sometimes and it doesn't work out. You either wind up not so good or dead. And the not so good would be locked up, because the path I was on, it was seconds away. Bad ideas, bad concepts. When you don't have guidance, and I hope that what we do here is a guidance for all of you, for sure. That's my aspect, that's my direction. Networking, some of the same things that are in these sororities. Fellowship, friendship, understanding, guidance, commitment to one another, commitment to an idea of education that you're not receiving currently. I guarantee you won't get some of this stuff in school. And some of the younger ones, MJ, he won't see none of these kind of classes. He might, because of what they're changing education to. It's going to be more along the lines of what we're doing here. It won't be just go in there A, B, C, D, E, F, G, It won't be that. But I hope I answered your question or given you a little bit more. But like I said, once I hit the origin of Masonry, you're going to get a lot more, because like I said, there's 4 pages waiting of information that I dug up, and I'm not a Mason. So it's free information, it's out there, but you can only make an opinion on it if you haven't joined it or you're not a part of it. And that's what I would be doing. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to skip homework for this week. You may skip it the next 2 weeks, so hold on to these. Because when I do Freemason, it's going to be the whole call. It's a lot.
Mr. May I request the words from last week?
She was too busy partying for her birthday. She missed the writing down the words.
See? Yeah.
I jumped on the call. Did you jump on the call, Mother?
I was at a sorority function.
Well, I did jump on at the end. And
Yes, you got a piece of paper, pencil?
Yes, I do.
All right, they're more along the lines of statements this time because I want to try to get more information from you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is why invest in myself? Why invest in myself?
Okay.
Number 2, what mode of financial investing should I do? And you have to answer that. What mode of financial investing should you be doing?
Okay.
What skills, number 3, what skill set makes the most sense in your financial or in my financial foundation? So what do you think that you need to learn to have the most impact on your financial foundation?
Okay.
Last one, how do I apply my level of comprehension to financial security? How do I apply my level of comprehension of my financial security? So you're kind of asking yourself questions and then you answer those accordingly.
Those are deep questions.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do I need
I'm
to look
trying
at
to get 'em to
last week's
think.
recording? Do I need to look at last week's recording to get a hit on how to answer these?
Well, you might be able. I would suggest you do look at last week.
All right.
Okay.
Any questions? Again, next week is going to be deep because I'm going to go through the start to the finish of what I dug up on Freemasonry. So I'm only speaking on what I read and my opinion, but I do know a few of them, but they won't talk about it, especially on recording. And that's kind of your point. Stacy.
Hi, I'm Mr. Montalvo. How are you today?
Blessed and highly favored.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, in regards to the questions, my son answered them, but he wasn't too sure on the number 2 when you asked, like, what mode of financial investing should I do? He wasn't sure if we meant mode, like, easy, hard, but then we kind of like went like with Google and it was probably in regards to like like through real estate or stock hold or crypto, things
Right.
like that.
Those are the
What was
modes.
exactly okay, that's the mode that you were looking for him to respond to. Okay. And then the last one, how do I apply my level of comprehension of my financial security? He wasn't too sure. Was it more like, did you want to ask him to respond in a like in money-wise security or towards what he would do with that financial security in regards to how he would use it, like towards a career or something? What was the exact
all of the
point
above.
all of the above? Okay.
That
All right.
question.
Well, that anyway.
Yeah, that question is very, very deep because there's several things in there. How do you apply it means first you have to comprehend the financial security that we're talking about. How do you apply it? So are you saving it? Are you going to put it towards further education? Are you going to put what you saved up and what have you towards an employment of your own? Financial security. So how are you going to apply it to a savings situation so that you have funds in the future? So that question is deep. It's going to require you to think about first all of the above, because all of the above questions pertain to number 4. So if you've noticed how I do things, I try to get you or them to first look at 4 different aspects, and they should all intertwine with the original thought. And this
Right.
original thought is finances.
Right, well, I did write that in parentheses, what you have learned and comprehension of the statement, so I figured all those questions were gonna go ending up in that, on all 4 parts into that one question.
Right.
And, now, is there a certain limit or, amount that you want them to, write, like a paragraph or a certain, like you say, because you said it's gonna be deep, so how deep do you want them to respond to that, like something like 2 or 3 statements, or how long do you want that?
Well, that's up to the individual.
Okay.
If they have a lot to share, they have a lot to share. If they don't, they don't. But I
Okay.
just want something. I don't put limits on or off. It's what the individual, again, this is for their benefit. So the better
Right.
they comprehend what's going on here, the more that they will have to stand on. And that's the foundation I keep talking about when they step out here and become adults. Some are
Okay.
already right there. So
Right, well, that's the other question I was gonna ask, because they're a little over 18, and
Mhm.
in regards to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything about the other event later today, are they allowed to be on there?
absolutely, everybody's welcome to that. That's
Okay.
digital training.
Okay, all right, well, thank you for your time, I'll see you then as well.
Absolutely. Um, any other questions? We didn't get a roll call because I kind of just started running. Who did make it to the class today? Where's my pen? If you would just roll call, please. I know you spoke to me this morning, but I wasn't writing.
Hello, Mr. Lewis. This is Keith Ann.
Ethan,
Hello, Mr. Lewis. It's Shakira.
Shakira,
Hi, Mr. Lewis. This is Jaden, and Kayla and Kristen are on as well.
Jane, Kayla.
Hi, Mr. Lewis. My daughter and my son, well, my son just came back from work. My husband picked him up, so they just got here like a few minutes ago. That's why I was asking these questions
Mhm.
in regards to their response. So they're both here, plus myself.
Okay. Is that everybody's here?
Sorry, Mr. Lewis, my mic went on mute. This is MJ here.
Yes, sir. Okay, so that's it. Good enough. Good. 3 o'clock. For those of you, if you're not doing anything, I'm going to do the crypto class, and that's for everybody. That's why I didn't put a adult crypto class and all that. It's just the crypto class. If you want to come, you're welcome to come. We're going to start from ground zero and start working our way up, and go through a lot of the devices so that you have a clear understanding of. I'll go over what I have and some online, to make sure everybody's on the same page. Yeah. Any other questions before we bounce? Okay, I guess that's it. You can unmute if you like and